Data is everywhere, but not all data is collected in same way. In data analysis, we often deal with two main types, primary data and secondary data. Do you know where your data comes from? Understanding the difference not only tells you how reliable your data is, but also when and how you should use it. In this video, I will explain difference between primary and secondary data with simple real-world examples, walk you through their pros and cons, and help you decide which one to use and when. By the end, you will never confuse them again. So, let's dive in. Let's start with primary data. Primary data is the information you collect yourself firsthand for specific purpose. You decide what to measure, how to measure it, and when to measure it. That's why it is original, fresh, and highly relevant. Examples: conducting survey with students about their study habits, running experiment in lab, interviewing customers directly, or simply observing people how they behave in stores. For instance, if company wants to know customer satisfaction, they can run their own survey. That is primary data. Now the biggest advantage of primary data is that it is reliable, specific and tailored exactly to your research needs. But here's the catch. Collecting it can be time consuming, costly and sometimes difficult to organize. So, primary data is like cooking a meal from scratch. You control ingredients and flavor, but it takes time and effort also. Now, let's move to secondary data. Secondary data is information that has already been collected by someone else and you use it for your own analysis. It is basically ready made data. Examples include government reports and census data, industry research papers, market research reports, also data from websites, books, or articles. For instance, if a company wants to launch new app, they might read industry reports about app usage trends. That's secondary data. The biggest advantage of secondary data is that it's quick, cost effective, and often covers large populations or long time periods. But downside is it may not be fully accurate, updated, or specific to your research purpose. So think of secondary data like buying a pre-cooked meal. It is fast and convenient, but you didn't decide all the ingredients. It may not perfectly match your taste. Now, let's quickly compare primary and secondary data side by side. Primary data is collected by first hand, directly by you. It is fresh, reliable, and tailored to your purpose, but takes more time and cost. Secondary data, on other hand, is collected by others. It is quick, cheap, and easy to access, but may be less specific or outdated. In short, primary gives accuracy while secondary gives speed. Now, the question is when should you use primary data and when should you rely on secondary data? And here is the answer. Use primary data when you need accurate, specific insight for your exact purpose. For example, company launching new app may survey users directly to understand their needs and use secondary data when you need quick, broad insights or when resources are limited. For example, that same company might use industry reports or competitor research to save time. And smartest approach, use both. Many researchers actually combine both. They start with secondary data to understand landscape and then use primary data to fill in the gaps. So now you know difference between primary and secondary data and when to use each. Primary is original and specific but costly. On other hand, secondary is quick, broad but less tailored. And key is knowing which one fits your needs or better yet combining both. Now, here's quick quiz for you. A company analyzing last year's published sales reports. What do you think? Which type of data it is? Primary or secondary? Drop your answer in comments. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss more simple lessons on data and analysis.